Bless you, everyone. Thank you, first of all, for your time, for your precious, precious, precious time to listen to what I have to share with you about your soul purpose, our soul purpose. And if you are here at Awaken, the rise in consciousness, you're already on purpose, because that is our purpose. And that's all I have to say. I can go now. I'm done. No, but really, if you are here in these seats, there's actually no coincidence. There's no such thing. So your soul has heard the calling and you are on purpose. And that's the micro level. On the macro level, the fact that you're actually even alive, come into this body to experience life, you have a purpose. You've come with a mission. Particularly in these crazy times that we're living in, even more so. Because we're living in times where actually history is in the making, and we all get to witness and be a part of that. How amazing is that? So, let's start from the beginning, right? I'm going to take you on a little bit of a journey, so bear with me, okay? If we're looking at why we are here, are we here because there was a big bang that led to the theory of evolution and survival of the fittest? Or are we here because that big bang was actually God who contracted in order to create this universe? And if that is so, this universe, before the Big Bang, all there was infinite light. And all there is now is still infinite light. It's just been created, or I suppose taken on a different density, but it's all light in different shapes and forms of matter. Okay? And so if we are looking at the soul purpose and why we are here, let's just have a look at what the soul is and explore that a little bit, because it's the heart of so many spiritual belief systems. So in my personal belief system, which is the Kabbalah, which is Jewish mysticism, the soul originates from the divine essence, a spark of God. If we look at Sufism, which comes from Islam, the soul is a divine breath from God. With Hinduism, the soul is eternal and identical with the ultimate reality. And with Christianity, the soul is immortal and destined for union with God. Exactly. In indigenous cultures, Great Spirit creates the soul. It's a part of Great Spirit and it's connected to the web of all that is. But the thing is that people always look for the soul outside of themselves or up there, and when they're trying to connect, it's just like, oh, let's call it in. But actually, the soul is in here. It sits in our heart. I'm sure you've all heard the saying that the heart is the seat of the soul, right? So let's explore that even further. So to understand that the soul lives within us, it helps to look at the different layers of our being, okay? We have a physical being, an energetic being, and a spiritual being. But that is all the same essence. It's just in different vibrations. And a lot of the times, it's likened and compared to, just so that we can understand, ice, water, and steam. It's all H2O. It's the same essence, but in different densities and frequencies, depending on what happens outside of us. And so why do we come here? We come here actually to experience life as extensions of God. And when I say God, I'll interchange. I'll say God, I'll say Creator, I'll say Divine, Great Spirit, Universal Intelligence, Light, Love. As far as I'm concerned, it's all one and the same. And you use whatever you resonate with most, okay? And if you think about it, everybody's trying to attain bliss, or when there's the infinite source of light, that's all there is. We come down here into this physical body to experience, because only in this physical body do we have the senses. We taste, we touch, we can be intimate, we can eat food. I mean, who loves to eat their food? One of the most beautiful, pleasures of life. And of course, we feel all the emotions, we feel all the feels. We have community, we come to grow, we come to repair, we come to heal. Because if we didn't come and we just stayed out there, that would be boring. That's all there is, And so I actually want to share a little story with you. You may have heard it. Neil Donald Walsh. He wrote a parable, and it's called The Little Soul and the Sun. And this little soul went up to God and said, God, I know who I am. I know who I am. And God said, yes. He goes, I am the light. And God said, yes, of course you are. You are the light. And then the little soul said, but I want to know what it feels like to be the light. And God was like, but you are the light. That's all there is. And he goes, no, but I want to see what it's like to be the light. And God said, well, for that, I'll have to surround you in darkness. Because in order to feel anything, you'll need the contrast. That's how we feel: good, bad, sadness, joy, hot, cold, all of it. And the little soul said to God, but will I be scared? And God said, well, only if you choose to be. But you are the light. And in the darkness, you get to shine brightest. And then the little soul said, and I can be any part of the light that I want, because there's so much to experience. I can be kindness, and I can be of service, and I can be forgiveness. And then the little soul said, yes, I want to be forgiveness. How am I going to be forgiveness? And then another friendly soul who heard the conversation said, if you want to be forgiveness, I'll come down with you and I'll help you be forgiveness. And the little soul said, you would do that for me? Why would you do that? You'd have to change your density and go into this heavy state. And he said, but because I love you. And then the friendly soul said, but I have one condition. When we go down together and I do this awful thing that you have to forgive me for, you need to remember who I am. And you need to remember that I am the light. And the little soul said, of course I'll remember, of course I remember. And he was jumping for joy. Yay, so happy. And the soul said, because if I'm down there and I forget and you forget, then we'll need somebody else to come down and remind us. And so what happens as souls when before we incarnate, we agree upon everything. We choose our soul contracts, we choose the lessons, we choose the experiences. There's no such thing as coincidence. We even choose our physical vehicle to the T, and it's all for the purpose of growth. But the thing is that when we come down, we forget. When we're born, we have amnesia. And I will share another little story. Well, it's not a story, it's a myth, actually, and it's called the myth of the philtrum. And as I just shared, before we come down, if we're a part of and are the infinite light and have access to all that knowledge and all that wisdom, and we agree to everything and we're aware of everything, before we are born, an angel comes and taps us on the lips and erases all our memory. And this little dent here that we have, it's called the philtrum. And the myth says that that's how it's created. And listen to the word, philtrum. It's like a filter. It filters everything. And so then we spend the rest of our life trying to remember the journey. But before I get on to the journey, I actually just want to share that God is encoded in our DNA. So if anybody had any measure of a doubt that you are not godly and that you are not an extension of the divine, God is in our DNA. I don't know if any of you have read Greg Braden's new book, The Pure Human. He refers to this, but I'm going to refer to a study done by Dr. Rubenstein in Mechon Weizmann. He's a microbiologist, and he actually looked at strands of DNAs under the microscope. And what he saw, that to keep the strands of DNA together, there are bridges. And if those bridges weren't there, then we wouldn't survive. And he looked at the patterns of the bridges, and the pattern was like this. Every 10 acids, there was a bridge. Every 5 acids after that, there was a bridge. Every 6 acids after that, there was a bridge. And then every 5 acids again after that, there was a bridge. So the pattern was 10, 5, 6, 5. And one of my passions is Kabbalah, which is Jewish mysticism, and we have a system called Gematria, where all the Hebrew symbols have a numerical value. And if we look at the numerical value of 10, 5, 6, 5, we come to the name of God, we come to Yehovah. So God is actually imprinted in our DNA. And so your first purpose is actually to remember where you came from and your divinity and your light. So how do we remember? What jolts us into remembering? Some people start to ask questions. And you know, when you start to ask questions, the answers begin to appear. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. Most people, unfortunately, through trials and tribulations, through heartbreaks, through really traumatic experiences, that's what jolts them into waking up, into remembering who they are. So for me personally, my awakening, I should say, was when I got divorced, and I started to ask, why did this happen to me? I felt like such a failure. Everybody else was, everyone was married and happy. I'm just like, why did this happen to me? And then I was driving somewhere and I turned on the radio, and all of a sudden the presenter was interviewing an author who wrote a book that was called, Why Does This Happen to Me? And of course, I went and bought the book straight away. And it was based in Kabbalah, and it was all about karma and reincarnation and life's lessons and the energetic contracts and exchanges that we agree upon so that we learn and grow. And I have Mack truck moments written here because, does everybody know what a Mack truck is? Mack is like a brand of trucks, right? And the thing is that when we don't listen to those little wake-up calls, you know, they get bigger and bigger. And to me, it's just like, it feels like you've been hit by a truck, you know? And so we want to avoid those Mack truck moments, so we want to start to listen. But when you remember that you are the divine and you start paying attention and you start listening, your next purpose, after remembering, is actually nurturing that light so that it grows, okay? Bring it inside of you. And this vessel that we have, this vessel is like our compass. And the more light we embody, the clearer our vessel becomes, and the easier it is for you to listen and see the signs and pay attention, right? And it's almost then you can actually follow the signs. Because I know that here I'm actually talking about inner purpose, right? I don't know if any of you came here and like, oh, your purpose. And it's just like, oh, what am I going to hear about? Am I going to, get clarity on my vocation? I actually want to focus on our inner purpose, because our inner purpose is self-realization. It is for you to remember that you are a divine being of light. And once you start to activate that and anchor that in, and throughout all the beautiful practices that you've been experiencing throughout the weekend, whether it's breath work, meditation, psychedelics, going out in nature. I love to say all roads lead to the light. Doesn't matter how you do it, just do it. But it's about nurturing that. And when you nurture that, actually, your outer purpose becomes clearer and it will unfold. I know that a lot of times people are really hard on themselves, me included, when I feel like, oh, I'm not on purpose. What am I doing? I've lost my fire, And we get really, really down and depressed because we feel like we've lost track. What I want to say to you is, in those moments, if all you do is go back to your inner purpose, go back to your light, go back to nurturing that and activating that, you are on purpose, because we're all light beings. If you have come here, you have come to bring light down into this planet and anchor more light. And we know that more than anything right now, we need that. Those Mack truck moments that I'm talking about, look at the world. What's happening in the world right now with all the wars everywhere? These are huge wake-up calls for the planet, for all of us, right? And I mean, we're here at awaken consciousness. That's what we're here to do. And so how do we do that? We do that through our heart. Because our heart, like I said before, is the seat of the soul. It's not only just a pump that keeps us alive. Our heart is a portal. Our heart connects us to the world below and the world above. It has an electromagnetic field 5,000 times stronger than our brain. Okay? It actually, because the electromagnetic field is so strong, it expands 6 feet around us. And that's why we actually need to tap into our hearts as a way to begin to nurture our light and to start to connect to and have a relationship with our soul. And so I just want to do a little exercise because I want you to actually feel the power of your heart and how simple it is. So if you just want to get comfortable in your seat and just take a deep breath in. Inhale and exhale out. And with the next breath, just wash away, clear away all the busyness, all the thoughts. It's been a busy day. If they float through, just leave them outside the marquee and you can pick them up later. And with the next breath, I want you to take in a deep breath and breathe into your heart. Exhale into your heart. And if you feel to, put your hand on your heart. And I invite you to think about something that you're grateful for. Whether it's being here today, whether it's having a warm bed to sleep in. Just feel gratitude for something. And now I want you to think of something that you love, someone that you love, a partner, a child, a pet, something that you love to do, something that brings you joy. And just sit with that feeling for a few moments. And just notice how that feels. And when you're ready, I invite you to take another breath and then just come back into this space. And open your eyes. And so I just wanted to demonstrate how simple it is and how powerful it is to connect to your heart. And when you are in that silence, you can actually start to also communicate with your soul and with your higher self. And the more you practice that, the more the channel becomes clearer for your guidance. Okay? And why is that so important? Why is the heart the portal? Because our heart is a resonator. And when we're in heart frequency, we access healing. And because we have this huge electromagnetic field of the heart, if we are in a high vibration and if we are healing, that affects the people we interact with. Have you ever gotten into an elevator and all of a sudden it's full and you're squishing in your energy because everybody's energy fields are mixing, and then you get off the elevator and you think, oh, I was in a good mood now, what happened? You know, and you picked up somebody else's stuff. But if you look after your heart energy and high frequency, actually people can walk out of the elevator picking up your good juju. Now, I am actually going to share something that's very personal and close to my heart, but it really is an example of everything that I've been sharing and about soul purpose. So this divine angelic being, his name was Keshet. Keshet in Hebrew means rainbow. And this beautiful soul was murdered at the Nova Festival on the 7th of October 2023. And his mother went to a psychic because she wanted to contact him and make sure that he was okay. And the psychic's name, I just want to acknowledge her. Her name is Ayalon, and she shared this on socials. But this was his message. Understand, Mum, I came into this body for a short time. I knew I was coming for only a while. I wanted to descend to your world, the earthly world, one last time. I wanted to feel what it's like to be an angel on earth, to bring beauty, feel love, touch, taste, and smell. I wanted to experience this world one last time because it is the last time for this world. This world is dissolving, and a new one will take its place. We came for this. I chose you, Mum, to help me, and me to help you. I knew you would help amplify the light and see the beauty. We're always together. We come from the same place. Now I help you from above. I will always be here, Mum. I chose to come and be a part of a group. We are a group here, a group of angels. Not all are angels, but I'm in the group of angels. We assist from above with this transition. Understand, Mum, a great gate has opened now. We are opening it. We are helping many souls transition. We are sending much light and knowledge to earth. I needed this experience in a body to understand the earth and help it. Everyone has their role, but we are together. Even those still in Gaza have an important role. Understand, there are no mistakes. It's not easy for them, but their presence awakens the world. This isn't just a war over land or nation. It's a war for the Holy of Holies, for the heart. Those without a heart cannot pass through the gate. This war demands that everyone reopens their hearts to compassion, love, and caring, seeing everyone in light. So, my friends, at this very point in time, you know, when the world is changing, we have a purpose. According to my belief system, and my sages share that the world has cycles of 6,000 years, and that's in the Jewish tradition. And in our tradition, we are in 5,785. That's where we're at. And in the past, every 6,000 years, the world would destruct. I mean, there was Atlantis, there were the floods. Why? Power, ego, greed. But then there was the rainbow and the promise that it would never happen again. And here we have the message from our beautiful rainbow that the solution, this wake-up call, is to return to our hearts. And even the sages say that now we are arriving at the age of light and peace. But we need everyone to wake up. And so the call is for you to remember your divine nature. That's your purpose. Return to your authentic self and nurture your light. Heal, grow, expand, and share. Nobody says it's an easy journey, and we all know that it's not. Yeah? But that's part of the process. And then, of course, return to your heart. And if all you do is return to your heart, you are on purpose. If all you do is anchor more light into this planet, you are on purpose. Be a lighthouse. And I will finish with, another story of one of our great sages, Rabbi Akiva, who lived in about 100 AD. And, there was a smart aleck that was coming to knock at his door. And he said, "Rabbi, I want you to teach me the whole Bible on one leg." And the rabbi said to him, "Love thy neighbour as thyself. All the rest is commentary." So if you take away anything from today, your purpose is to return to your heart, the seat of your soul, and all the rest is commentary, my friends. And I'll leave you with that.